Hey everyone, and welcome to your C++ tutorial on header files. So, as you can see, we have Visual Studio Code pulled up here. We have our car class with all the associated methods. We have our main function, which is the entry point of our program with just a hello world instruction here. So, in our previously declared class, we declared this in the same file as our main function, and that's fine if you're just going to use the class once, but as our program expands and our functionality kind of gets more broad, we're going to want to separate our classes and functions and things out into separate files. It's just a good way to organize things and a good way to just mentally have things organized. So to do that, we need to create a header file and an implementation file as well. So what a header file does, and particularly with classes, is it defines the class and defines the method signature, which is the type, the name, and the parameters of the method. It also defines the variables in the class and the accessor methods as well. And so that's the header file. There's a partner file with it, which is the implementation file. These two things get linked together. So the implementation file, a header file is like the class name.h, and the implementation file would be the class name.cpp. The implementation file will take the method signature for these, for the methods, and add an implementation of that method. And so if we want to just jump right into it, we can create a header file and an implementation file. So I'm going to go over here to Visual Studio Code's Add File button. And for our purposes here, I'm going to create an odometer method, or an odometer class. And we'll put it in we'll start its header file here. And so something that is interesting with header files is that we're going to be using them all over the place. So we want to make sure that they're not duplicated a bunch of times. And so to do that, we're going to say pragma once. And what this will do is it's a preprocessor directive, which is why you see the hashtag here. And it'll prevent this from being duplicated all over the place. If we use it in main, we use it in all these other places, it's not going to duplicate it. It's just going to create one copy and use it everywhere. Now we need to create our class. So to do that, we create our class in the same way that we've created classes before. It's the same exact thing here. And really there you have it. There's your basic class definition. What we're going to do is we're going to create a public method, and we're going to call this, it's going to return an integer, and we're going to say get maximum speed. It's going to take no parameters. And there we go. So this is just a basic class definition header file. Now what we need to do is we need to implement this method. We've declared it in our header. So now let's create another file called odometer.cpp. And in this odometer.cpp file, we need to bring in our header file. So we need to do a hashtag include, and in quotations, we are going to say odometer.h. Awesome. So we've included our odometer.h file here. And now we need to implement our get maximum speed method. And to do that, what we're going to do, we're going to do our return type. We're going to call out the odometer class and use a : and you can see I'm getting the auto fill for get maximum speed here because it's using our .h file. Since we included it, it's accessing our odometer class. It sees the return type of int and knows that there's only one method in the odometer class that returns an int, and that's get max speed. So now we do the implementation for our max speed method. And we're just going to return 500. It'll be a real fast car. So our maximum speed on our odometer is going to be 500. Okay, awesome. So now we've declared our header file and we've declared our implementation file. Now we need to include this in our main program, use it, and then compile and link the whole shebang. I'm going to create another video where we talk about compiling and linking because it's kind of a deep topic, and I think there's enough content here to I'm trying to make these videos a little bit smaller so it's easier to digest and refer back to. So just to review what we've discussed here, previously we created a class that was in the same file as our main method, and that's fine if we're just going to use it here. But we may want to use different classes in different places, and just break out code just to organize it a little bit easier. So what we did was we created an odometer class in a header file. And so this header file basically declares the class and declares the function signatures for the class. That's great, but we also need an implementation. For that implementation, we created a odometer.cpp file where we go through and we create a definition for each function signature. Now, we only want to use these files once, so we created this preprocessor directive called pragma once that'll make sure that this file is not duplicated all over our program wherever we use it. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how we can compile and link these together, as well as include it in our main CBP file here. But for now, I hope you learned something. Thanks.